Hi everyone, I'm Kim with Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you for joining me again. We are now getting really into my Death Year 2020 journal. We're going into September. It's kind of dark times for me during that period. So if you want to hear more, get your favorite beverage, settle in, and yeah, let's get to it. All right, so we have my journal here. This is my Death Year journal, and I'm still writing into it to this day. This is March 10th that I'm recording this video, and I wrote something as soon as March 9th. So I'm still actively putting things in there. So I'm just kind of touching upon different highlights in my journal. I want to share with you about my experience of having a low buy, no buy 2020 year. So what that means, and you can check out all the other links in the description box below so you can go more into depth. What I'm talking about is I decided to abstain from purchasing decks, crystals, books, to go deeper with my collection. So that's all that it was. But that didn't mean that I wasn't receiving gifts. It didn't mean that I had exceptions or maybe already pre-orders of decks that I have ordered way back when that were coming into my collection. So I journal. I journal a lot. This is just one of like two other, I have 3 journals that I journal in all the time. I've been a journal person since I was a kid. I still have journals from then, thankfully, that I've saved, that I kept because it's important to me. So let's move on. Let's go and see what else we're going to talk about here. So September 7th, I put, wow, it's been a while since I've journaled. Planned. I'm definitely into planners. I'm one of those people who have a cute, oh, it's not here, a cool planner, and I'm always like finding the perfect stickers and washi tape for it. I'm one of those people. But I wrote here, it's been a while since I've journaled, planned, or even uploaded videos. I've been so tired and I guess depressed. My doctor just prescribed Zoloft and I'm not sure about taking it. So this, you guys, this is the part in my journey where I start to get really depressed. I start to feel really anxiety filled and really coming to terms with I got to make a change in my life. I am very transparent with you all. I try to be always and share with you openly about what's going on with me, what's going on in my world, what's going on with how I see the world. And for better or for worse, whether I'm right or wrong, I try to share that openly, and I'm sharing this with you now. This is for my journal. I literally think my problem is being stuck in jobs that are stifling me. I am now motivated to get my life back on track without meds. So I have to tell you that my whole life I've been dealing with general anxiety and depression. It is my diagnoses. It is when people open my medical records that they see that. And the last time I was on medication was between 1994 and 1996 when I was a teenager. And I got off those meds and I had promised myself that I wouldn't go on them. Now, let me tell you something. There is nothing wrong with being on medication. It is an absolutely necessary thing for some people. But I had gotten to a point where I didn't need it anymore. And so I longed for that for myself. But clearly, I'm struggling here because my doctors, I'm just kind of giving you the background. I went for a physical and my doctors noticed that I had lost so much weight. And they were worried that I may have some kind of condition or disease that had caused me to lose so much weight. And it turns out, and like I intuitively knew, and the card said, I was stressed and depressed. And that's how I respond. I don't really eat or sleep when I'm depressed. And in an active, I call it depressive spell. I don't really eat or sleep. And when I do sleep, it's little short pockets of time in the middle of the day, but I'm up all night. And that's when I know I'm in one of my little weird depressive modes. So September 7th is when I wrote this. I said, I'll take the meds if exercise and quitting my job doesn't work. So by this point, I'm thinking about resigning from my position. And I know that exercise does help with my anxiety and with my depression. And I wrote, I have no interest in buying decks. I've been scoping out a few and will likely pre-order the Lua Tarot, but I'm not eager to break my depth here. On the other hand, I have a feeling I will love and cherish this deck. And I do, guys. Sorry, spoiler alert, I end up getting it. We shall see if I get it. I plan, so then I'm planning to talk to my boss about taking a leave to be able to manage taking care of my daughter, who was at that point, she had been since March of 2020 in virtual school. I had been working full time, my husband working full time, my parents juggling all the grandkids. It was just a trying time. Oh, that's right. I had to get a biopsy during this time. I will also be getting a biopsy, a mammogram, my first one. The mammogram was kind of exciting because that was my first mammogram. And it went off without a hitch, y'all. But I ended up having to have a biopsy in my uterine area. Won't go into details, but it was imperative that I have one. And it was also during that time that I realized I needed to have a medical procedure to deal with my fibroids that were really taking over my life at that point. I talk about that in those videos during this time period. But this is where I see where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting the biopsy, I'm getting testing, I'm getting more of an understanding of what's going on with my body. Let's see what else we got going on here. September 11th, it says, these are the times when a little retail therapy could help take the edge off. No lie. I fought the urge on 2 separate occasions to go to Barnes & Noble's to look for a new deck. I reminded myself that I planned to pre-order the Lua Tarot, and I did, many moons ago, by the way, because I saw that deck, I want to say for sure in 2020, in March 2020 at the Northwest Tarot Symposium in Oregon. Saw it there. And I want to say she may have mentioned it even the year before in 2019, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Oh, and then I put, and possibly back the Super Linares Tarot. And I did, and I got it. Love that deck. I also reminded myself that I'm about to be self-employed and I am in the middle of a refinance right now. So in September, I was also stressing out about refinancing versus selling my home. I ultimately decided to sell my home because for so long I wanted to be mortgage free and see what that life was like. And so refinancing would have been great, but it also wasn't the solution for me ultimately. So I mention that because I'm being transparent with you guys of what I was going through during that time. September 13th, I backed Super Linares Tarot, pre-ordered the Lua Tarot, and the True Heart Intuitive Tarot. These are decks that will go towards my low buy year in 2021, I wrote. I am thinking of giving myself a budget of $350 or so for new deck purchases next year. Hey, I'm well under that. Good job, Kim. I have no regrets about the purchases. The spreads led me to making the decision to get them now. I do not want to miss out on the first editions of these decks. And the spreads I mentioned right there is the spreads I created for my course. If you don't know, I created a free course called the Choosing Your Next Deck, Curating Your Collection. It's in a course listed under Abundant Life Tarot Academy and my website. My website is abundantlifetarot.com. So check that out. It's free. And I have spreads there that you can download and access to determine whether or not you should add a deck or release a deck. What should you do with this deck? What's your collection trying to tell you? Where is it at now versus where it's at in the past? Anyways. September 21st, I wrote, "Oh my God, my life has sprung in an amazing way. My videos are getting tons of hits. Thanks, guys." I got new subscribers. Oh, I have to mention this because I have to give a shout out to someone special. And Simon from Hermit's Cave asked me to take over his channel for his cuppa, and I did, which anyone who knows me knows I'm a freaking nervous Nelly. I don't like doing lives, but I'm starting to get way more comfortable with them, particularly with my tiny Facebook group. They're super supportive, and I love the peeps, my loved ones who come and join me, and we have a great time. So I'm starting to be like, okay, I can take on YouTube. And then Simon throws me into his channel takeover, and I'm like, I was a willing participant. He didn't throw me in. I was a willing participant. He asked me, and I'm like, that sounds so cool. That's so much fun. I love his peeps. I love his channel, his vibe. Anyways, so clearly I was excited about that. I gushed on and on about it too. Oh, and I talk about, you guys have to mention this. This is a fantastic time. So you can tell I'm in a depressive episode because my doctors are concerned. I've lost a dramatic amount of weight. My mood is all over the place. I'm not healthy. And they surmise that I am in a depressive episode, and they want to prescribe me Zoloft. And I'm grateful for my doctors wanting to intervene once they realized there was an issue. And I'm grateful for that. And I encourage people to reach out to your medical providers. They are there to help, not just with your physical aspects, but with your mental and emotional. So reach out. If they can't help you, they can refer you. And I've been blessed where I've had times where they were like, you know what, you may need a little something more metaphysical. Now, I lived in California where that was more open to be expressed in something like a bureaucratic system like Kaiser, medical facilities and insurance, Kaiser insurance and whatnot. But they would say things like, oh yeah, you need to try this, or here's this natural remedy. And they were spot on and helped me, push me in the right direction. Don't be afraid to get mental help and well-being, getting that going. Don't be afraid of that. I just want to say that, by the way. Don't misconstrue my journal entries of me not wanting to be on medication as me being opposed to it. I'm not. I was willing to take it, but I knew that there was something deeper inside of me that was like calling, and it turned out to be something way bigger than I could have even thought, and I'm happy about that because I'm much happier now, y'all. And then an anonymous person, she shall remain nameless. I would just say reveal she's, she gifted me the Victorian Romantic, a deck I have been longing for forever. Baba Studios decks, 2 decks that I was like, I would love to have in my collection. The Bohemian Gothic, which I had 3rd edition, and the Victorian Romantic. And this gorgeous soul sent that to me and sent me also the Dust to Onyx, something I've been talking about in these pages here, y'all. In these pages. And we talked about in the previous videos how I really wanted that deck, but it worked out. It worked out that this beautiful person who probably didn't even know what a low point I was in my life. I was super happy because I had clients coming through my Etsy shop and my website, and people were connecting with me on YouTube, and that's all great. But in my regular life, I was falling apart. I was an analyst and I loved what I was doing, but working from home and taking care of my daughter, I just felt like I was just coming up short all the freaking time with my daughter, with being an employee, being a business owner, a YouTuber, a wife, and a daughter, and a sister, and friend. These are those roles that matter to me so much, and I just was not, I felt like meeting in any area. And I was depressed, and I was anxiety filled. Panic attacks were waking me up in the middle of the night. Sometimes I think I wake up to a heart attack, and it started in 2018 after one of my dear friends had died. And then I thought that was the reason why that was happening, but no, it just kept happening over and over again. And so my doctors wanted to intervene, and I appreciated that, and I needed that. But in that moment, I realized I need to get my health right, my mental right, my emotional self right. And I was also doing a lot of connecting with my ancestors during this time, and they were speaking to me and saying, no, do this, do that. Go to the doctor, go get a physical, get this medical procedure, you need this done. Got a medical procedure. Oh God, you guys, this is going to be a multi-part series, and I'm kind of excited. I've been missing doing a long series for a while, so it's kind of nice to have this just keep going and going and going, and we'll see where this goes. But it was a rough time last year for many of us, not just because of the pandemic, but it revealed so many different areas in my life that were just like had gaping holes. Yeah, anyways, let's see, did I talk about, what's this on this page? On October 18, 2020 at 1:10 a.m., I wrote, I fell off the wagon and purchased the Uncommon Tarot, the Lantern Oracle, the Lua Tarot, pre-order of course, and I backed the Super Linares Tarot Kickstarter. I received my True Heart Intuitive Tarot, which that one actually wasn't a violation because I had been supporting that deck and knowing about it for a long time, so it's like not a big deal. And the Lua kind of sort of too, since I kind of knew about it in 2019 at the Tarot Symposium and the Northwest Tarot Symposium. But the others, the Uncommon, that was a death year violation according to the rules I established for myself. And then I wrote, the Bonestone Tarot and Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot arrived finally in September. And then I put, now I'm contemplating buying a new deck called the Faceted Garden Oracle. It is beautiful. And as you all know, I end up doing a spread to determine whether or not I should add the Faceted Garden. Did that spread. That's on my website at abundantlifetarot.com. Check it out. And I ended up purchasing that deck, and yeah, I purchased it, did an unboxing, and I have it here. It made it all the way from the United States with me on the plane to here, and only a handful of decks was able to do that, and that was one of them. Haven't used it much, but I love it. It is beautiful, like I wrote. And I talk about how I gave some decks to my son. I gave away a lot of clothes, a lot of decor items in my home. in preparation for downsizing to move to the Dominican Republic. I sold a lot of books. I think in all for decks, I sold like 37. I gifted in 37 decks in my collection. Excuse me. Take a sip of my beverage. Yuck, flat soda. Let's see if we talk about anything else before we wrap up this video, because I like to keep these videos kind of short and sweet. We're getting close, though. I might just finish off, but we'll see. Oh, you know what? No, we're going to pause here because this is a good little segue, because we talk about, I'll just say the first sentence for the next video so you'll come back and watch. I am struggling with how to get all of my decks to the Dominican Republic. And we'll stop there because let me tell you, it's a struggle. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this part of my depth year update. It's a lot for this journal entry because it's a lot of heavy stuff that was going on in 2020 for me, but it all was worth it. The dark sides, the light sides, the ups, the downs, all worth it. So join me for the next part as I continue on story time with my depth year 2020 updates videos. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.